Huh. Alright. Have you ever wanted to fight robo-communists in space as Mr. Chad American? If so, Vanquish has you covered. Vanquish is an action game by Platinum Games, and thankfully doesn't have any involvement from the angry Twitter addict himself, Hideki Kamiya. No, this time we get an incredibly solid action game that honestly doesn't let the player down in any department that much. So, let's strap on our augmented reaction suit, light a cigarette, and swear up a storm while protecting America's freedom. In the near future, certain resources on Earth are being fought over by different nations, so America devises the plan of using solar energy from a space colony to power the country. This proves to be a shot in the foot, however, when the Russian government takes over the station and nearly wipes out all of San Francisco. Met with the option of either choosing complete surrender or another attack on New York, the US government sends in the military and Sam Gideon, our hero, from DARPA to retake the station and save the day. The story is pretty much by the numbers, and naturally there are a few twists and turns, and the expected cliffhanger ending that is never going to be resolved, but the plot kept me invested to see it all through.
Burns, I need some backup.
Franklin, Rios, you two escort Sam. Everyone else provide cover.
It also helps that the set pieces and some of the situations the game sets up are all really top-notch and fun to watch and experience. My only complaint is that here and there throughout the story, two of the characters only show up once or twice, and I nearly forgot about them existing and being relevant until the final few moments of the game. Another little thing that was odd was a character's almost bipolar team switch from each side to the other near the ending. It was just a little jarring. The game is an odd combination of incredibly serious military jargon and a healthy dose of camp, if that clip from the intro of this video wasn't clear enough. And no, that isn't an Easter egg, you have to find that to progress through the level. Not only that, but characters go around quoting science fiction movies and books like Starship Troopers without even batting an eye.
Come on, you eight. Wanna live forever?
But with the camp, it's also a bit jarring to see people explode into graphic messes of gore when they die. But thankfully, deaths were never made light of with some poor attempt at comedy, so the serious scenes and more lighthearted ones are spaced out properly. I really like Sam Gideon as our protagonist. He is a foul-mouthed, chain-smoking, ex-quarterback with a heart of gold, and I wouldn't want him any other way. He was incredibly likable and always had a quip at the ready, and even had some depth with how he cared for the rest of the Marines he was fighting alongside.
Burns, look. He's trying to lure us. I know that.
You want me to sacrifice an entire unit to help 3 men?
No, me do it. You just keep your eyes off my ass.
His relationship with each of the other main characters was also pretty great, and it was nice to see him get along with his intel assistant Elena, and even though they clashed heads, work alongside Robert Burns.
Sam, I'm going high.
Burns!
Take the squad down the low road.
You don't need me to hold your hand?
Drag your sorry ass into battle.
Robert Burns is a rough and gruff military type who must see the mission through, no matter the means.
Just shut the damn blast doors!
You can't do that. You've still got men out there.
Men who were ready to die when they signed up for this mission. You know that.
Let's not give up on them just yet. There's still time.
I don't take orders from DARPA.
And although he was a bit of a thick-headed asshole, it didn't stop him from at least being a decent enough person, and I did appreciate that he and Sam didn't hate each other's guts, regardless of the fact that they were both from different branches of the government. The few moments where he was concerned for Sam and vice versa, only for them to quip some swear-laden insult at each other in relief, was pretty great to see.
Sam!
Elena was probably the most down-to-earth character in terms of everything happening, but this didn't mean I didn't like her inclusion in the cast. She worked well with Sam, and I liked that she didn't do anything to betray Sam or fit into any other cliche plot point like so many games like this tend to do. She did her job and cared for Sam, with Sam caring about her back. They seemed like good friends, and that's good enough character to me, especially for someone who is almost never in the same room as our hero. There is another character by the name of Dr. Candid, but outside of his kidnapping, he doesn't do much else in the plot. He isn't even the driving force of why Sam is there. He just so happens to become a side objective to the team. The villain of the game was a Russian space agent by the name of Viktor Zaitsev, or however you pronounce his name, and he was just kind of boring. I didn't really care about him as a villain, and the whole ending twist just left me scratching my head more and then shrugging my shoulders. I guess the best thing I can say about him is that he gets the plot rolling, so there is that. Well, the game had a lot of grays to its color palette. I didn't mind this since it made the colors of certain weapons and parts of the environment really pop out. And even with the muted colors, the game still looked really nice, especially when the graphics were maxed out. Character and enemy models, environments, and everything in between were nice to look at, with the expected jank to some things here and there to come from one of these type of games. The gray colors never really bothered me since everything was easy to differentiate from one thing to the other, and it all fit with the, what I'm assuming, was an on-purpose feel of poking fun at other bland-looking cover shooters from around the same time. The cutscenes were a bit odd though, as even though they ran fine at 60 FPS, they still had a slight dip to the visuals without actually dropping the frame rate. Lip syncing wasn't great, and the characters' models' mouths themselves never moved outside of cutscenes, but it didn't really detract from the overall experience. There was also no real visual bugs or problems to speak of either. The game ran incredibly smoothly, even on something like the GTX 960. No, I wasn't running the game on the 960 this time, instead running it on an RTX 260. I just know from past experience the game runs really well maxed out on most systems. The game felt excellent to control with the controller, and not once did I feel the controls were unresponsive or slippery. Each input was easy to get the hang of, and quickly became a second nature as I was speeding around the levels with my boosters, shooting targets down in slow motion. I don't know how keyboard and mouse feels with this, but even if I did, I still think the controller is the way to go with it this time around. Voice acting and audio in general was good. The guns and explosions had weight to them, and the music, even though it melded itself into being a bit more out of the way, was nice to listen to and had a fitting techno theme. All the actors of the English crew suited the characters they were playing, and even the background Marines sounded alright. Yeah, that's about all I can say on the voice acting front. I liked it, and nothing in the game sounded bad. Sadly, nothing sounded too amazing either, just fitting the role of making my ears appreciate that nothing hurt them. Now we get to the real start of the game, that being the incredibly slick and fast-paced gameplay. Vanquish is a third-person shooter, and while you can use cover shooter elements, the game encourages you to speed around the map with suit thrusters blasting away at enemies. Sam doesn't have a health bar, instead using his suit's energy as a shield. Basically, if you boost away all your power, then you are left vulnerable until it recharges. Well, this had a few times where I could die fairly quickly. Most of the time, it was just me not being very smart when charging at an enemy with the wrong weapon equipped. The weapons on use here were really fun, even though they were almost all what you would expect from this type of game, with the odd exceptions being the laser weapons, that I sadly didn't use all that much. Although I didn't use them that much, everything else on offer was incredibly satisfying to use. My favorite weapons were the fully upgraded assault rifle and the anti-armor pistol. Apparently, the PC version comes with all the DLC weapons for the game, and one of those is the anti-armor pistol, so that's really cool. With the weapons, there was a neat leveling up mechanic where in battle, the more you picked up ammo for the weapon you were using, or picked up upgrade kits while you were using that weapon, the more damage and ammo the weapon could do and hold. The weapon's visuals even changed in higher ranks of use from what I could tell, and this really rewarded the player for finding which guns they prefer to use and play with. Ammo was also thankfully relatively plentiful, even for some of the heavier hitting weapons. I hope you don't mind fighting waves after waves of robots, since that will be the vast majority of enemies you fight. Basic round robots, flying robots, big robots with rocket launchers. Thankfully, while the enemies were all mechanical for the most part, they were still decently fun to fight, with the exception of some of the mini bosses that just felt like ammo sponges. While you do fight mostly robots, There is one part of the game where you fight human enemies, but that is near the game and involves some spoilers, so I'll just let you experience that for yourself. The human enemies are a bit brain dead compared to the robots, funnily enough, but nothing game ruining, especially with how short this part is. With all that said, I highly encourage you to go out there and play Vanquish. It goes on sale quite frequently, and while the game on medium will only run you around 4 or so hours to beat, you can unlock harder modes and challenge modes for you to replay through. The game is an absolute blast to play and feels exactly how you would want a summer game to feel. Full of explosions and actions, this game never lets up on the excitement. It's absolutely worth checking out. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please consider sharing with your friends or checking out the rest of my content on the channel. If you want to support the show, I have a Patreon link down below. If you have any games or anime or movies you want to recommend, or just have a conversation down below in the comments, please leave them. I read all the comments that I get. A big thank you to the show's patrons, Project Nova and Gemstar Gold. Until the next video, this is Thierry Williamson, signing off. See you guys.
And off I go.